if you did something like line run or something,
yeah,
you know,
or the node thing where you pull in the node. Sorry.
And like, you know, line run could look at some like .line file in some particular directory on the production machine that's different from on the dev machine, and like you just it's you know it's a
yeah. But okay, let me cut you off there because people don't do this anymore. Okay, they don't do that. What they do is they ship Docker images. Okay, that's what happens. Now, you know, maybe you don't, but that's what most people do because they have this problem. They don't want a different experience, you know, in development and test and production. They want the same thing. So it's, you know, of course, yes, you should be able to have an Uber. One way of doing it, the old way is Uber jars to distribute your code, but now people use Docker. I mean, actually, I'll say this. I mean, Mia, do you use Docker or do you use Uber jars?
No, we use Docker.
Yeah.
It's taken over the world.
It's quite common, I think, for this to happen because, you know, it's just more predictable. It's a bit safer. But the problem with Docker, is that if you want to, some people use Uber jars in Docker, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a problem. Okay, if you want to use Uber jars in Docker, because you're doing like your belt and braces there. But sometimes you have to do it. Yeah. Now, why do you have to do it? Well, because maybe you have some dependency from a repository that is private, or that you need to have a key for or a license for or something like that. And you don't want to share that license file or that SSH key inside of your Docker image.
Right.
And we have this problem, you know, where we want to run Clojure. We don't want to Uber jar because as previous see above. But you know, we do want to put the code somewhere in Docker, but we don't want to ship the SSH key because we've got private dependencies. So then it's like, what are you going to do? Well, the Docker people have been thinking about this. What they do now is they have what they call multi-stage builds. So you can essentially use tool steps like -r or line steps, whatever you use to resolve your dependencies in the first container, okay? So when you're in that first container, it's a virtual machine, it builds everything. So all of your dependencies are resolved, your class path is fully realized in the CP cache or the .m2 directory of the home folder of that container, okay? So it's all in that container. And then what you can do is in the next stage of the build is you can copy information from the first container into this container. And then, hey presto, you've got all your M2, your CP cache, all your bits and pieces that you need to run your code, but you never had to expose your SSH keys or your license files or whatever you're using. So that's what a Docker multi-stage
I don't understand
is.
how, can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely.
I don't understand how the second stage prevents that problem.
You've got all the artifacts at that point. So you don't need to, the reason why you can't get private repositories is because Git is doing a login via SSH.
Right. So you do that in the first stage?
Yes, you do that in the first stage.
Oh, and then the second stage just copies stuff out of that instead of reaching over to the server. I see.
Yeah, so it's just running everything from local. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
you're still you're still exposing the code in the Docker image.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
You're still exposing the code, you're just not exposing your secret materials. Yeah.
Right. I seem to remember some issue. I mean, I haven't done Docker in a while, but we were doing Datomic and Docker together, and there was some problem. And I think the same problem happening with Uber jars. It was like something in the licensing of Datomic. You couldn't actually make a
GPG. You have to use GPG to get the files from Datomic.
Right.
So if you want to embed it, you've got a problem because you have to put your GPG key out there or run a GPG process, which is bullshit. This way, you could do the same. You can do that. You can run GPG locally, expose that to the Docker thing,
right?
And OpenSSH has all this business where you can essentially mount GPG folders, or you can mount SSH folders. So you're all good.
Okay.
So it's a nice trick because, you know, it means that you don't have to distribute your shards, but you don't have to run Uber jars. So you essentially it just runs exactly as if you're just running it from your local machine.
Cool.
But you've got Clojure installed, you've got Java installed, you've got a complete environment installed, and it's completely stable.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, that's it.
And can you do the same thing for node modules? I guess you could populate them.
Everything, yeah. It's the same for all languages, yeah.
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 Multi-stage.
Multi-stage builds, yeah. It's part of this BuildX thing, that there's this new version of Docker that they're making, which is more sort of, you know, advanced. It's got all kinds of funky things going on. But
The other nice thing is that
is pretty good.
Sorry. The other nice thing is that you can use that first stage over again, right? Like you can keep your M2 cache, not have to download it each time into the...
No, not really. It's disposed of the first one. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
that was another issue. I think there was probably a solution, but we didn't. The problem was every time we would do a build inside the Docker, it would have to download basically all of Maven again. And so you'd build it just to find out, 5 minutes later that it failed, and then you'd have to, you blow away the Docker image and start again, and it would download all this stuff. And that was a lot of downloading just to find out your build was going to fail.
Yeah, well, that's the nice thing about like line deps or the -r feature of tooltips. You can resolve all of the dependencies.
Yeah.
And of course, in theory, in that container, you can mount .m2 if you want to. So
right. So you could, that was
but
like
you don't get
some
a clean
of the,
build then. That's the problem.
you don't get a clean build, and then
so you don't want that. You want to take the hit. But if you're doing it in CI or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Right. But on your own machine, and you're trying to tweak Lineagen settings and see what happens.
Sure.
It's kind of tough. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it wouldn't be so bad on your own. Yeah, if on your own machine, if you I guess to really tweak it to be reproducible, you'd have to delete M2, which would be painful, or do a no cache on the resolution, I suppose. But again, that's kind of like painful, I think.
I'm sure that there was a solution. I feel like sometimes you just keep moving forward, like, oh, maybe I only have to do one more tweak, so I'll just take the hit again. When you keep saying that like 20 times in a row, maybe you should stop and read some documentation and figure out how to solve it.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, no, I think the Uber jar was the generic solution to that problem in the past. But I think the multi-stage build is a cleaner solution because it gives you the exact correct resolution that you need, so you're not going to be surprised.
Do you remember when there wasn't a thing called jars?
Yes.
Yeah. Man.
Do you remember before Lineagen?
Do you remember before Java?
Yeah. I remember before Java.
Yeah.
Oh, it was all fields around here.
Oh, it was bad back then, though. Yeah. Trying to get stuff to build. Like Rogue Wave, C++. Oh, man.
The one thing I'd say, though, is that we've gone wrong is if we really want to just keep the bullshit going for a bit longer, is like we lost make. Incremental builds were a thing, and now they're fucked. And I don't like that. I think incremental builds are what we need. And I'm very upset that we haven't got that. I can get
you just have faster compilers, maybe. Yeah, that's true. Make was a cool thing. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Well, I think that topic's done. Next thing before our REPL, one last. You like my segue?
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
So smooth. Yeah.
I'm writing a book, and people keep talking about like you got to do a transition
Yeah.
You know, you're going from one topic. You got to be like, well, we just finished talking about this, and now we're going to talk about this, just so they know that it's not the same topic. Okay. So next topic. That's my transition. Next topic. I have a course that I've just launched. It is in the launch sale right now. The course is a Markdown editor and Clojure script, runs in the browser. It's a single page application. It's a pretty basic application. It uses Reagent and Shadow CLJS to do all the building and the live reloading and stuff. And we just build a Markdown editor, and it's kind of an introductory course. You know, get a project up and running so that you can modify it and experiment with it, which is often the hardest part. Is just like getting something started. So if you would like to get 50% off of that course, you can go to the link in the show notes, and please buy it and enjoy.
Can I ask you a question about it? Do you use CodeMirror?
No, we don't use CodeMirror. It's just text area.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Old school.
So yeah, old school, but it has like live preview. So as you're typing the Markdown, you can see the HTML. And then we use a library from NPM, thanks to Shadow, that makes it really easy. Yeah. It's called Showdown. And it actually does bidirectional. It does HTML to Markdown and Markdown to HTML. So I don't remember what lesson number it is. Maybe it's like 4 or 5. We add an HTML editor and it changes the Markdown. And so, you know, there's some challenges with modeling, like which one are you editing and which one should we generate and stuff. So all in all, it's still a very basic application, but it's something you can build on. The last lesson in it, we talk a lot about like features you could add and stuff like that.
Two-way editing is pretty good, I think. Yeah. Very Brett Victor.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. You can paste in HTML from somewhere, get the Markdown, edit the Markdown because it's nicer, and then get the HTML that generates. So
it sounds really good. Yeah. Where do we sign?
Cool. So if you go to purelyfunctional.tv/courses/markdown editor, markdown-editor, you'll find it. And the price is already discounted, so you'll get the 50% if you buy it within the launch sale, right? I don't know when it's going to end, but it's going on now.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Cool. I think there's 10 people listening, so maybe 10 sales right there. Excellent sales technique. All right, let's get into the REPL. That's what people are wanting to see. That's what they tune in for. Who's going to bring up the REPL on the full screen?
I can share it. Yes.
It looks like the show notes are still from December.
How is that possible?
I don't know. It happens every time.
Every time I paste in the link.
I think this is one of those problems basically with this YouTube Zoom integration crap. I mean, you know, we're still. Well, I think we keep on saying we're struggling with this. I mean, really, you know, I think Google really hurt us when they got rid of Hangouts. So
here's the problem:
folks,
apps are bad.
I'll fix it. Yeah. Get off
Google
the computer. Why aren't you outside enjoying the day? Why are you watching us?
Apps, they're bad.
I'll change the show notes. Don't worry.
All right.
Boom.
Hey, we've still got the thing from the last time we were here. the Christmas coding thing.
Rock solid.
The Advent of Code. Yeah.
Oh wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Was that our last one? It's too long.
What were we doing there? Yeah.
It's still last year.
I've been puking for the last months we've been off, so
oh no.
Is that because you were kind of sick of missing us?
Yeah.
Wow.
We know it's better.
Show really grew on her. All right, so the REPL exercise, as you can see in the updated show notes. Sorry, people, if you have to reload, but There was a little snafu there. So we're going to parse query parameters. You might remember this from my newsletter, but I thought it was a pretty cool little practical exercise in figuring out what the query parameters are, parsing them into key value pairs, and putting them into a map, which is how you would probably want to see them in a Clojure system. So we basically get a string, which is the URL, and it might or might not have query parameters, and we have to parse them out. So I've done this before, so maybe someone else should drive on this one.
Only you and Mike logged in, I think. So.
Okay, I can drive. Yeah.
But I think isn't it like there's a spec where it's like starts with a question mark.
Right,
Okay,
right.
yeah.
So it's everything between the question mark and the hash sign. If there is a hash sign, it could be the end of the string, right?
Oh, is
And then there, of
what
course,
does the hash sign do?
So that is like you can anchor onto a certain point on the page,
Okay.
right? So you can do like hash paragraph 2, and it'll jump you. The browser does not send that to the web server. The browser uses that itself, but it's still, part of the URL.
I did not know that actually.
Oh,
I did not know that.
that makes things make sense.
So it looks like equals 1.
Now, I'm going to see if there's a Clojure. I mean, I guess we can just use the java.net.url decoder decode directly from the REPL.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Yeah.
Whenever I do it. So yeah, Mike, that's a good URL. Yeah, you can put a second one in there.
B equals 2 or something. Yeah.
And then, as Eric reminded us in the notes, could do that
right. There's a bonus. You can. There's no rules about not repeating.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then you could have a hash. Yeah.
Whatever. Something.
Yes.
So that's
Whatever.
a good start off with. Yeah.
Well, I definitely didn't know about that hash. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah.
That's like the section markers and stuff, right? At least that's where I see
it's
them.
an anchor.
It's like anchors.
Anchors,
in the
yeah.
page,
But I didn't know you could include it in a query or in a query URL. But that's the thing about HTTP. It's goddamn complicated. Yeah.
You mean it's our master and we're not its master?
Yeah, that's right.
It is very complicated.
Yeah.
So
Stupidly complicated.
why don't I have dir?
Do you need to use Clojure.REPL?
Yeah, maybe that's okay.
There it is.
Okay. I just wanted to look at what's in Clojure string because it feels like we might be doing some string stuff. Just to remind me what's in there. So we need to, it feels like we need to get that little part. Yeah. You like the split thing?
Yeah, I'd split it at the question mark first.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I type something wrong?
I think that you have to do Clojure.string/split because we haven't used Clojure.string yet.
Thank you.
Oh, just string.
Yes. Yeah, we may have required string. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we should. Let's use a require string. So we got it.
Yeah.
I think you can use a regular expression, so you can just do a question mark dot star hash, I think.
Yep, you absolutely can.
So you want to do that? Let's see. Give it the string.
The string and then the pattern. Yep.
Yep.
So let's see. What did you say, Ray? Question mark.
Question mark.
You got to do
star.
backslash question mark because question
Just
mark
gotta
is
that
right.
thing?
escape
Okay.
it. Yeah, I think you got to escape it.
And is that enough, or do you need a dot star after it?
Well, you want to go up to the slash, up to the hash, don't you? So you want to say dot star hash.
Dot star hash. Maybe escape it, maybe not.
But then you don't want to split. You want to actually match on it, right? You want to find.
What did that just
find?
do? Let's see.
It matched the whole query string and used that as a splitter.
We
a
want the opposite
delimiter.
of that.
Yes, the opposite.
Okay,
So
should
we
we
want-
dot plus maybe?
Refind or rematch here. I forget which one actually gets us the.
I always forget to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Match has to match the whole string, so you want refined.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So
But so that means that instead of what we're splitting on, we have to write a regex for what query parameters look like.
Yep.
so
Welcome to regex cast.
No, come
Yeah,
on,
exactly.
do that. Don't do that. Just do dot plus hash because then you
Okay.
want to split on ampersand, don't you? 'Cause-
Right. You want the question mark followed by a bunch of stuff followed by a hash, right? Isn't that?
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Or like, yeah.
yeah. So it should be
Question mark first.
question mark first. Okay.
backslash,
But then
question
you have to
mark,
backslash it.
It. Yeah.
And then you want everything that's not a hash mark. So I would reverse. Do you know this? Like the reverse. So okay, go back right after the question mark, open bracket, yeah, and then do a caret.
That little beast.
Yeah, and then put a hash mark in there.
Anything that's not a
Yeah,
hash.
and get rid of the plus, yeah. And then you don't want the hash either. There you go.
Okay.
Now, and you need a star because it's more than one. 0.
Oh, I got you now. Yeah. Okay. So 0 or more things that are not hashes.
That's right. So everything up to the hash, or this also will do the end of the string because
Let's see what we get for this.
Woo! So close.
Yeah, we got
right.
that.
We just need to get rid of the question mark. So if you put parentheses around the thing you want, then you can get it out.
Yeah, the capture group. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Capture group.
Capture group, and so now you have it as the
Yeah.
second item.
Okay. This is regex cast. All right.
So it's the last.
but imagine doing that without a REPL. That's all I have to say about
I
it.
do
Yeah,
what Rick
oh,
said.
yeah.
Take the last of that one. Yeah.
Starting to look like one of those little ASCII faces.
sideways?
It does. Like with a black eye, maybe.
Yeah.
And
So
then you
let me.
split that on the ampersand, I guess.
Yeah. I was gonna. Let's
Arrow
make
it.
another thing in there so we have more than one ampersand, right? Because if you only have C equals 3. Now we got 3 things in there. All right. And then we can split this one on the ampersand, right?
Yep.
Which order?
Clojure dot
Yeah, Clojure.
string.
Okay, alias that one.
Yeah, you aliased it to string.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
Is the argument the string?
String
Yeah,
first,
string,
and
then
then
the
the
regex.
And then the
regex.
regex.
Okay.
Because it couldn't be like anything else. Yeah.
Keep you on your toes. Yeah.
Well, in the string library, they all
Makes
have the
sense,
string
yeah.
first.
It makes
Oh
sense.
yeah. They're definitely.
And in the
came
regex
first, yeah.
library, they have the regex first.
As one should.
Yeah, because regex definitely was after string.
I think you got to
No,
escape that.
okay.
I think you got to escape that and.
The
Oh, what's causing my grief? Let's see. But I have a parens mix up here.
No, you have the last is including the ampersand regex there.
Mm,
You got to close it before the regex.
Around there, maybe?
yep.
Yes.
Hey.
We
Right,
get
there
some.
we
And then
go.
split those on equals.
I'm going to run out of
You got to
space.
map. Uh-oh.
Get this going. All right. Okay. Going to map a splitter on this dude, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So let's see. Try that. Nope.
Yeah, you need to make that a function there.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you going to partial it or are you going to hash it? Dirty
I'm not going to partial anything, man. I can't stand it. I feel like I'm missing a parenthesis somewhere. Let's see. There we go.
Yay.
Yes.
All right.
Now I know what to do next. Or do you guys know what to do next? Let's see.
I guess you're gonna
Into hash.
Yes, and to, yeah.
Yep.
Hash map?
No, just make them.
Just traces.
Do the things.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I was like literally listening to what Eric said and sort of like hash map.
Oh, you've got to
Very good.
keywordize it. Come on, this is not good.
No, screw that. There's no keywords anywhere in this stuff.
All right.
Oh, we
No,
can.
one thing we didn't do.
We have to keywordize it.
I have to because this just bothers you. Yeah.
Yes, it's horrendous. This is not idiomatic output, is it? It's not Eden.
We could just
Well,
map
it is,
keys
but-
keyword. Once you've
Exactly.
got them there, you can map keys keyword.
Absolutely.
Can't you?
Well, because the problem there is you're just taking the keys out. You have to update the map, don't you?
Yeah.
So you have to make a little
You
function
have to update.
that
You have to
converts
update.
it to a keyword.
Well, keyword
value.
does that. You can call keyword on a string.
Keywordize keys is the function. Call that. Put that after.
Is there
in the
such a thing?
There is. It's in the Clojure.walk.
There's one in there.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
that's
there is.
true.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
There is.
yeah.
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 Oh, that's cheating.
It's cheating using the standard library.
Clojure.walk is it's only standard because we work with such big bloops of data.
String is allowed though.
Keywordize keys.
Yeah.
Actually, string is less portable than walk, I think.
Let me try that.
I feel like string is like something you'd expect to find as a standard library in anything, whereas walk is
Only useful if you're dealing with giant nested data structures like we do.
Yes.
Is that function in Clojure script as well?
Keywordize keys?
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Go check real quick.
So nice. Oh, so
And then,
nice.
so one thing we haven't done is, well, we haven't tested whether it works without a hash.
Mhm.
It might be worth testing what it's like if you don't have a query string, what it does. Because I would expect either an empty hash or nil or something. And we haven't dealt with decoding the URL encoding.
And also multiple, like the multi-map.
And then the multiple, yeah.
Okay. Which one would
So-
you all like to do?
We could test a different URL with like no hash. Should be.
Is the expectation with the multiple one that you just get the last one?
No, the expectation usually is to treat it like you get all of them in a vector.
Ooh.
So if you
All the
did
values.
A equals 1 and A equals 2, you get 1 and 2 in the vector.
So I want to get rid of the hash to see if our things break. Is that that's a concern, right?
Yeah.
Just make sure we're still cool.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then what happens
What's
if
the
you have
keywordizing?
nothing?
Let me add. Ray's going to be bothered by this if I don't put that back in.
Yeah, I know. Come on, you've already done the work.
Don't forget to you have to walk
walk
slash keyword.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
Man, I need some coffee.
What time is it over there?
It's like it's in the afternoon right now over here. But I
tens
still
of
need
people looking at it.
Oh, 2 cups of coffee a day must be nice.
Okay, so what were we going to do next? We were going to
Try it without a query string just to see. I say you can try it with.
to see if it deals with an empty.
I mean, if I'm playing my like
Yeah,
tester's hat, I would
Yeah,
try
yeah.
it without a query string. I would try it with just the question mark with nothing after, because that's legal too.
Ooh, it is.
And then
that's mean,
yeah.
man. That's pretty bad.
It's
That is
mean.
mean.
I
That is very
know.
mean.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to me?
Because that might mess with our split, you know.
Ah,
or-
man,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
It could really hurt.
Oh, and we didn't do that.
Um,
Uh-oh. What was that? Okay.
I'm I keep redefining my URL. There's probably a better way, like writing a function, but hey,
Writing a whole function.
I can't be bothered. All right.
You just have an array of URLs which you map over.
Oh, come on, man. I'm not that. I just want to see this thing that Eric just mentioned.
Fair enough.
Because that's.
Oof.
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
Ugh.
Vector arg2 conj must be a pair. what? Let's see.
Vector arg to map conj must be a bit. So that's the into, which means that the map is probably giving us something weird. So let's delete those 2 lines there.
And see what we get up to there.
Yeah.
But don't we just do a sum arrow and then it will just stop?
So the split on an empty string gives you an array or a vector of strings.
I don't know that some arrow I don't think would work for that case because it's not a nil, it's an empty string. So it's still
I think it's producing
truthy.
it.
I think it's still truthy for some.
So, Bruce.
But also, yeah, that must be what's happening. I think some arrow would work if we didn't have the question mark, because then it wouldn't match the.
Yeah, because it wouldn't get into the map then. Yeah.
So what are you suggesting, Ray? Putting a sum?
Well, that wouldn't solve this problem. No, we can do a not empty. You do a sum and a not empty.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right, okay.
So let's see. We got up to
the
here.
not empty will turn a collection or a string into itself or nil if it's empty. No, you got to do not empty
before.
So you got to do it way earlier.
Okay.
So we actually might have to pull this thing apart and do after the last. We have to do a not empty. So we have to, before that split, the first split.
Right in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the split's not going to work on nil. So we have to do something else there. Or that's what the sum is for.
That's what the sum is for,
but
yeah.
Then so we have to move the split out of there. Yeah. Backspace. Yeah, there you go. Backspace.
Split. Okay.
Turn that in. Yeah, we'll delete that too. The ampersand regex. And then turn that into a sum arrow.
At the very beginning?
Yeah.
Do we have a sum with the double caret?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's probably one of those, huh?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's see. We have some
There
arrow.
sure is.
Double arrows.
Yep.
So this one, yes, single arrow.
Is that converting it into?
Let me see.
Oh, I see. You're doing it that way. Okay.
Okay, so we have
and
some
then do
arrow.
a not empty to convert an empty string into a nil. And so that will trigger the sum. And so now we got to convert it into we got to split on the ampersands.
After this not empty?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means we have something in the string. It's not an empty string. Yeah, this is getting really complicated.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time following it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so
split.
the split on ampersands. No, you don't need the percent.
Right.
Yeah,
we got the
that's
arrow
what
going
arrow's
on.
for,
Where is it?
Yeah. Ampersand.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then we need to do a thread last to get into the map.
Let me see what we have so far.
Okay. Yeah.
Nothing. We get nil.
That's good.
That's correct, though. That's
That's
good.
Oh,
correct.
okay.
Because
Yes.
look at your URL. Look at your URL.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Let me
Right.
put something back in there to see if we. Let me just put a URL literally in there. It's easier to test it.
Yeah.
Getting clever here now. Foo.com ?
Why can't you just do it at the beginning of the sum? Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. We could put it before that, right?
Yeah, but then it's thread last again. It's weird.
Okay. So
Oh yeah.
now if we put this dude back in here.
You got to
Okay.
thread last it.
Yep.
Bad last it. Let's see. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
God. Okay.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Sorry
this
for
is,
my-
this is I think this is why
Really?
Stuart
I mean,
Sierra
that's-
says never do that.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. And then we have our into again, right?
Yeah.
Into hash map.
No, but you got to do the into inside the thread last.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna have one of these things. Let's see. Get back
No,
in
that's,
there.
no, you
many?
deleted too many. Mhm.
Yeah. One too many.
Yeah, one more. Yeah.
Off by one error is in your parentheses. It's like
Yes.
the
Yes.
hardest problem.
Okay. Now let's go back and put another
Alright.
duty in. Let's see. And b equals 2. Okay.
Yay.
Oh, Ray's gonna complain though because we don't.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, come on, man.
Wait, I have another test.
It's good
Oh,
enough
okay.
for, as you like to say, Mike. It's good enough for government work. This one.
Yes.
It's- It's good enough for apropos.
Yeah.
So here's another test. What happens if
Okay.
you just put a? I don't think you need an equals.
Okay.
And I'm wondering about. I mean, I think
What's
that's
the
legal.
semantics of that then?
That means it's just some option that you're saying I'm adding this
It's there.
option
It's like
Yeah.
without
truthy
a
or something.
value. Yeah, it's just true.
Okay.
Must be a pair.
Hmm.
Yeah, because we're getting like
So-
half of the thing.
Yeah.
Because the not empty thing is passing.
So okay, I mean,
I'm just seeing what we get up to that point. Hello. Sorry. I maximized my screen accidentally. Is it back now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's back.
Okay.
uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
Can you hit Control L? Will that?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. There we
Okay,
go.
good. Now. Woo, sorry about that.
Something worked on our show.
Yeah. Control L. Old school. Jang. Did I? Okay.
So here's
back to where we
what's
were.
right.
Okay.
I mean, I can see what's happening. Do you know what's happening? Do you want to talk about it?
I was
Where-
gonna actually make it show me until I hit the wrong key.
uh,
That's all I was doing right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Getting A by itself.
we're getting A, and then it's splitting it on equals, right?
Yeah, I
Wait,
think part of the problem is that we're kind of like discovering the rules as we go along.
Well, that's true too.
Is that even a valid URL?
I think
what
it is.
Eric was speculating. Yeah.
I think it is. I don't think you need an equals. I think just the existence. But we're splitting on
Mhm.
equals, and so it's giving us a vector of 1. So if you could just not do the into, uncomment all the other ones and
Okay.
just comment out the into.
Okay. I'm at the into. Okay. Yeah.
So
It's that
the
last part.
into vector, it calls conj, and it's saying you can't conj a singleton array into
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be a key value pair. So we need to somehow put a nil or something, or a true maybe
Mm-hmm.
on that.
Is it
I mean-
F-nil type thing?
No, I think what I would do is fake it by like concatenating this vector with a vector of true and then taking the first two. So if it's got 1, then now it has 2, and if it had 2 already, it's a no op.
Well, do we want a no-op
Mhm.
or do we want a vector of if we get one like this, do we want a vector of these things? Like do we want 2 different paths where if we have just the A after the question mark, we get a vector with the A in
Well,
it?
you could, but then you could have A and B. Yeah, you could have
Something like
that, or you could have and B equals 2. Right.
Jeez.
So can you do and B equals something? So that should be valid,
Oof.
right? Like
Yeah,
what
okay.
you don't.
Equal. Oh fuck. Okay.
What if the internet is bad?
Well, it
Yes.
is, but this is what we live with. This is the.
So it's almost like you want it
air
to
we
be
breathe.
nil almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or equals true, or something else, some other
Some
sensible
value
value like
Basically have
present.
to decide a
Mhm.
default value.
Yeah.
But so what happens if you do that? Just run that.
Yeah, run that. Yeah, good. Okay.
So really what I think is to have a
little patcher upper.
A patcher upper that
right around here.
That we just add in a sentinel value to the singleton lists.
Let's see.
And the way I would do it is take two.
Take two, okay. A function that takes two.
Take two, then wait, no, not yet. Inside there, a concat or conj, doesn't matter. Conj. Wait, you need a open
prints.
Yeah. Conj percent.
Okay, so you're tagging
no value or something like that.
True.
No value. There you go. True is nice too.
Okay, but that's where our little thing would go. I think I'm missing.
Oh, you need a paren after the true.
Yeah. Maybe around here. Feels right. Yes.
Now, is this going to work if the first value is an A equals and the second one is a singleton paren?
Okay, let's see. That's like make this one.
Yeah.
And leave that one singleton, whatever you call it.
All right.
Yeah. So we can put our entry back safely.
I don't know if it's going to like.
Because they're not vectors anymore.
They need to be vectors.
And then I don't know if it's going to like.
No,
we can't have two keys that are both A, can we?
No, that's the thing.
That's going to cause a problem too.
Yeah.
Okay, just get them back into vectors. All right, then we have a collision, right? The A collides. So into is not going to be good enough. We have a problemo.
Well, what do we actually want to do? Because we now no longer have a valid map. So do we want to? I don't think we can't return this as a map. It's not a valid map.
But you can't. I mean, I think it would be weird as well to sort of sometimes return a map and sometimes return a vector. So I guess to me, we're done now.
Is it group by first or something?
That's a good point. Or I mean, you could do a group by, but then you would always have vectors.
Something like that.
Now, what ring does, in its default parser, is it just sees, okay, you do have multiple, and so we're going to make that vector. And if you only have one, it just returns a string. Yeah.
So like your client code has to look at it to see if it's a vector, and then but what else are you going to do? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like the idea of not having to, depend on someone typing the URL properly for your code to, know what string, whether what type to expect, if it's a string or a vector of strings. I like the idea that it's always a vector.
Yeah.
That seems more reliable. So it would be less convenient because you do have to look in there.
Yeah, that check that you have to do at runtime is a little weird to see if it's a string or a vector.
Yeah.
I think just having it as a vector at least is consistent. To me, that would be fine.
Yeah, and the vector maintains the order. That might be.
Yeah, that is nice.
I think this is really nice, actually.
Yeah.
And then you could, you would have your own custom code to put it into a map.
I mean, you could, in theory, present it back as a set, because that probably should be true. Because if you have B3 twice, well, that doesn't make any sense to me.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but you're throwing away information. You're throwing away the order and the fact that B equals 3 was twice. I think that this is,
what are these people doing?
I know,
randomly
exactly.
repeating the same value in a query URL.
It's a bunch of QA
you're
testers.
abusing my human rights by removing information. Oh my God.
Don't do it. Because you'll never get it back once it's gone.
It's out of the universe forever.
Yeah.
People who take QA
Arrow of
testing into
time.
like a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
Oh,
I will never properly use software again.
Like
want
white
more
hat
sausage.
hacking, but just
Yeah.
very mild.
What happens if I press this button?
No, don't press that button.
No, it was not designed for that. Unintentional behavior. I mean, if I were a consumer of this library, I think this is an interesting discussion, because if I was going to consume this library, I think I would like it as just a seek of these pairs, you know?
Yeah.
I think that would be, just like how I like how the CSV, the Clojure.data.csv just gives you a vector of vectors of strings. It's like all we did was found the commas and we split it. That's it. Like we didn't do anything extra. We didn't throw it in a map. Yeah, exactly. And I like this. It's like the spec does not give you any more information. Like you should treat it like a hash map or something like that. Like, does the order matter? Doesn't say, right? So just maintain the order.
I guess the true bit is the funny bit. Then it's only last bit that's a bit odd.
I would put no
nil,
value. I would put a nil.
I would put a nil. Yeah.
So you're saying this is good so far. We don't need the into, because that's like assuming too much about the shape of the answer.
Yeah.
And then you don't like the true. You'd say maybe nil?
I think nil, because
it feels right
that's
to me.
It's really what it is.
Because it's the param doesn't exist. Yeah.
And it's if you're going to have nil for anything, then it's kind of what it is, isn't it? It's a maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, this is actually a case where it's holding space for something that is empty on purpose.
Yeah. This page left intentionally nil.
Wow, did we find the case for nil? Is it? Have we done it?
Well, also that not empty.
Yeah. $10 billion of waste first, but we've got it.
It wasn't a mistake.
Is there a bounty on this?
Oh, sorry, I did it again.
A bounty on this bug, yeah. Wow. I think that nil is doing a lot of work here, because we got the sum and we've got the not empty, which are kind of working together as like the not empty is like an escape hatch.
Yeah. Oh, we got the case for nil.
So that's the other alternative, but then you force people to deal with a vector of length 1. Maybe the nil's better.
I think the nil explicitly say
throw them a bone. Yeah, give them a nil.
I like nil. I would also accept some kind of sentinel value, like
of course, because then if you have nil, then the problem is if anything downstream is running anything on it that will give you a null pointer error, then like that's it depends on we don't really know people's use cases for this, but I presume that there would be a problem.
I think nil is probably the safest thing to return, because people are kind of expecting nils, to show up, whereas they're probably not expecting a keyword.
If you make
like they think it's either a string or it might be nil.
Nil is
safe. If you make
safe.
a sentinel value, also it's kind of like you're adding semantics into something where it's
exactly.
I would want nil to be. I'd want it to be documented. I like, hey, you might get a nil here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Right, like if there was a spec, you'd have to put nil
Nillable.
in it.
Yeah.
So that you could generate some with nils.
Mm-hmm.
So would we keywordize it if it's not in a map, or would we leave it as a string?
No.
The problem, I guess, to some extent, and this is why, and I think this is why keywordize didn't really happen at the beginning, because my guess is that you're probably allowed to put things that can't be keywordized as keys, You can maybe put A ampersand B or A.
Yeah, two,
what,
exactly. That's not a val.
Whoa.
Sorry about that. Control L.
Okay.
Control L. Get that. I keep hitting the wrong key. Just
Is that possible? Is that a possible?
The keywordize.
You can't keywordize it, that's for sure. But is that a possible?
I think you can
variable
keywordize it. I think if you did,
you can do that. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. What happens if you keyword nil?
Okay, let's try.
Ooh, probably returns nil.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Sounds reasonable.
So
yeah.
Yes.
it's not really reasonable. It's
What else
actually
would you do?
quite.
It's not a perfect
If
program.
you look at the code, right? It's an incorrect program, and so
Yeah.
the behavior is undefined. Which is,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's happening. So if you
But
do
the-
keyword on
but there
anything
are-
that's not a string or a symbol, so you can
Yeah,
do it on a
yeah.
symbol, should work. But if you do it on a number, it's just nil.
Huh.
You do it on a map, anything that's not. So there's no error. There's no. It just what happens is there's a cond. There's a cond that says, is it a string? Do this. Is it a symbol? Do this. And then it's done. So there's no else in the cond that would throw an exception. It just runs off the end and returns nil.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go eat.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is
that's
time,
good.
man.
Yeah.
Good timing. Yeah.
Yeah, a keyword. Yeah, I just checked that. Keyword quotes 3 does work. So you can have a keyword 3.
Oops.
But you have to
How do you
put
get the
it in
code?
line.
Source.
Source. Yeah.
You have to put it in quotes. Like keyword string 3 becomes keyword 3.
Yes.
Oh, so it's actually just
It's just
Oh,
nil
no.
by default because they didn't define.
yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, look. What happens if you have like? So isn't it a bit bizarre though if you have 2 slashes or something? Or aren't there certain breaking points here?
Like if you try to name
So you're talking about something like keyword A/B, like that.
but then if you put in 2
No,
slashes,
if you like 2 slashes, like http//foo or something. Yeah, we'll just
What is that? That's pretty cool looking.
yeah.
Oops.
That's a cool one. I like it.
That's a good one. Emojis are for the win now. Okay.
Yeah. Have to use that
But
one.
so
at some
you
point.
know that, right? That slash is like a special case that if you just have a slash, it is not a namespace. It's like this. It's like the division symbol,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if you do // the name of it is slash.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah. But the wait, I can't do that. So but then the namespace of the keyword is the empty string. Wow. I know.
Think about
Don't do that.
one.
Don't do
Think
it.
about that.
Oh no.
Invalid token. But if you did this, look. Oh, no such namespace. Oops.
Get out of there. Oh.
No. Don't do it. That works, but that worked. Oh no.
Rich Hickey's going to come yell at you. What are you doing?
That is incorrect code. I did not define what it does in that case. Yeah. Right. So I'm gonna read our outro.
Okay.
So in our new incarnation of the tech stack that we use to broadcast this wonderful show, we cannot give out the YouTube link before it is live. So the only way you can know the YouTube link is by subscribing on YouTube and clicking that little bell and it will notify you depending on your notification settings. I'm sorry it's so complicated, but it is. We can tell you on Twitter in an hour we're going to go on live, but we can't give you a URL. So I think if you subscribe, you'll get on YouTube, you will get notified of it. Also, you can find us on Twitter. What is it? Apropos
_ cast.
Underscore cast. Apropos underscore cast. And we'll tell you when we're about to go live. So thank you all for joining us, and see you next time, whenever that may be. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.